What's up, guys? How are you? Hope you're all fine. Welcome to this new episode of the Beauty of Life podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about how to achieve our dream life, aka how to achieve our goals. Because when you have a dream, you have to set a certain goals in order to achieve that dream. And so, we're going to be talking more in depth. To be honest, if we're going to be talking about how to achieve our dream life and, the whole goals and dreams and things like that, there's a lot to talk about. I could break down this episode into many different episodes, and I might probably do it over time. But let's just say that today it's going to be more like a summary of just an overall view of how to achieve our goals and, how to actually achieve them. Because we tend to, at the beginning of the year, or maybe at our birthday, or maybe even at the beginning of the week, we always tend to, whenever we have the chance to have a fresh new beginning, we tend to set certain goals, because we want to improve ourselves and just, have a better life. Whether it's a better beginning of the year, or maybe a new season, or you just had your birthday and you're like, okay, so I want to make the most of this new year of me, or whatever it is. Whenever we have a fresh beginning, we want to make the most of it. And therefore, we set some goals. But not always we get to accomplish them and therefore make our dreams come true. And there's a reason. And we're going to be talking about it in today's episode. So without rambling around and, just over talking, let's hop into the episode. So, if you clicked on this title, it's probably because you have certain goals that you've set for yourself and you want to obviously achieve them. And probably some of those goals you've been setting them for years and years and years, and you never get to achieve them. And so you want to make a change on that, which is amazing. It's the first step towards success. And so, speaking of steps, we will be breaking down the whole process of achieving our goals into different steps. So the first step is, well, aside from actually taking action into wanting to investigate on how to achieve your goals, we would say the second step is that you have to eliminate any sort of mental blockage that you may have in your head. Because we always, especially with certain goals, we tend to have a mental blockage where even if we are setting this goal, in our head, we don't really believe, like deep down, you don't really believe that you're going to be capable of achieving that goal. Whether it is, I don't know, maybe I want to become a millionaire, or I want to lose a certain amount of weight, or, those crazy dreams that we have. We sometimes think that that dream or that goal is too big for us, that we're not capable of achieving it. Therefore, even though you're setting that goal, you don't really believe it. And when you don't believe something, it's very hard because your own mind is blocking the way into achieving that goal. Same as when you go into an exam and you're thinking, I'm going to fail this exam. I'm not good at it. I haven't studied enough. I don't know the whole subject. I don't, you keep telling yourself these negative things. And so when you get into the exam, because you have all this mental blockage towards this exam, you're not going to perform well because you're going to get nervous. You're going to start reading the questions. Your brain is going to be like, I don't know this question. I don't remember. You're going to get nervous. And so even if you had any remote possibility of passing that exam, you're not going to achieve it because your brain keeps getting nervous and keeps blocking the way into getting actually to think and answer the questions, which probably you already know. But because you keep thinking that you can't do it, then your brain is like, no, I can't do it. So no answer will come. And you're not going to be able to answer the main questions in the exam. Therefore, you fail. And therefore, you prove to yourself that what your negative thinking was telling you, it was true, which in reality it wasn't. But because you actually believed what your negative side was telling you, you made it true. So that also works as a reinforcement that when your negative talking is talking, it's actually telling the truth, which in reality it is not. But because you have this proof that your brain was telling you that you couldn't do it and you didn't do it at the end, it was like a proof that, oh, so that side of my brain was right. You know what I mean? So you can't allow that side of your brain to be the one that dictates what you can and what you can't. Anyone can do anything, and you have to eliminate that mental blockage. Once you eliminate it, you're going to be able to just try anything. I mean, whatever excuse that you're putting for your dreams, there are people that have managed to pass those excuses and do achieve their dreams. Like, whatever is your goal, if you're saying, I don't know, I want to be a billionaire, but your excuse is, I don't have a business mind, or I'm very poor, or things like that. Any excuse that you put to yourself, there's someone out there that had the same situation, the same excuse, and even though the whole situation, they were able to achieve their dreams. They became millionaires or billionaires or whatever it is. Because the excuses are just excuses. It doesn't matter if you say, I want to lose weight, but you keep saying, I don't have it in me to get up every single day and go work out. That's just an excuse. And somebody else also didn't have it in them to get up every single day and work out. But eventually they got past those excuses and actually got up every single day and went and worked out. And over time, they managed to actually achieve their goal of losing weight. So you're not the first one, nor the last one that will put any kind of excuse over a certain goal. That's because we get too comfortable with what we have. And so the bed seems very warm and very comfortable in the morning, but eventually at some point you're going to have to get up. So why don't just get up and do actually something that will make you happier in the future when you get to start losing weight? And then, I mean, we all know that getting up and doing the work will make us happier. But because we are too comfortable with what we have, because it's what we know, we always tend to put excuses because we are afraid of the new things. I mean, even if you're someone who says, "Oh, I love to try new things, and I am someone that is down for anything at all time and all those things." Even if you're someone that is comfortable with getting out of your comfort zone, you also have moments where you're comfortable with what you have, and so trying something new that is going to take more effort from you and is going to challenge you in different ways is something that you're not comfortable with because you like your comfort. So it's something normal. It's just a matter of mentality. I mean, you can't achieve anything. It doesn't matter how physical your goal is. The beginning of your journey towards achieving that goal will be in your head. So that was a lot of rambling for the first step, but it's very crucial because in this first step is where a lot of people tend to just back down and not even try because it's just too tiring, too consuming, too scary, too whatever. But remember that whatever excuse that you're putting for yourself, somebody else also used to put that excuse. And at some point, they had to go over it and actually do something. So, any person that you see with whatever it is that you want, you see someone with their dream body, that person had to go through it at some point, and you're just seeing the finishing result. But they had to go through the whole journey before that. Every single person that you see out there that they have something that you want, the only difference between you and them is that they actually got up and did it every single day. So, yeah, that's for the first step. Then, if we continue, the second step, once you already have this mental blockage eliminated from your head, and you actually believe from the bottom of your heart, you believe that you can achieve whatever goal it is, you need to think about, okay, so what is that I want? For the whole episode, we're going to be putting just two examples, either losing weight or becoming a millionaire, because, it's very typical and it's easy to put examples for each step so that you can understand better what I'm trying to say. So let's say you want to become a millionaire. So that's your ultimate goal. That's your dream. You have this dream life for yourself. You want to be financially free. You want to travel the world. You want all those things. And so being a millionaire is your dream and it's also your goal. But in order to achieve this goal, you need to set some steps. As we said, The first step was to eliminate the mental blockage of you thinking that you're not capable of becoming a millionaire, because literally any single person is capable of whatever they want, as long as they truly believe in it and put on the work. Any single person. I mean, how many examples of millionaires that came from nothing do we have on the internet? So, just like them, you can be one of them. That you have to keep in mind. Then, you have to set some steps towards how to achieve it. You can't just say, I want to achieve this goal, and you just put it out there. That's why most of the goals that we set at the beginning of the year, we never get to achieve them, because we write them at the beginning of the year and we're like, I want to lose weight and I want to become rich and I want to travel and blah, blah, blah. And we just write them, and then we close that book and we just continue on with our lives, and that's all. But it's just like we throw this goal to the air and hope, and we cross fingers that hopefully it becomes true. No, that's not how it works. It's half having goal, faith and, the universe and God and whatever it is that you believe in and luck and everything. But the other half is all hard work. So it's the combination of both things. You have to put on the work and trust the universe, trust God, trust whatever it is that you want to trust in, that that you are going to achieve what you want. So in order to achieve that, you need to break down the process of becoming a millionaire. So what's the first step? So I'm going to be saving money every single month. Okay, so what amount of money I'm going to be saving every month? You can just say, oh, at the end of the month I'm going to save, but then you don't really know exactly how much you're going to save. So you're probably going to be just spending it around, and by the end of the month, there's no money left or whatever it is, and you're going to put an excuse. Oh no, but I can't save this month because I need it to pay rent, or you're going to put an excuse, and oh, this month I can't save, so next month. And then next month will come again, and you also have an excuse for it. So you need to be clear about how you're going to achieve it. So you're going to break down your path towards your goal, and you're going to at the same time set SMART objectives. The word SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. So let me break down for you what a SMART goal means. So a SMART goal is a goal that is specific. So you need to specify. When you say, I want to work out, you can't just say it like that and just throw it into the world and, whenever you feel like it, you're going to go and work out. No, you need to be specific. And you need to say, I'm going to be working out 3 times a week. So that's being specific. Then this goal needs to be measurable. So you need to be able to measure or track if you are actually achieving your goals or not. So for continuing with the working out goal, by the end of the week, you're going to be able to see if you worked out 3 times a week or not. If you didn't, then that week you didn't achieve your goal. But maybe next week you do work out all 3 days and you get to achieve it. Or for example, if you want to lose weight, you need to say a specific amount of weight that you want to lose. So you can't just say, I want to lose weight. No. You need to say, I want to lose 20 pounds or 10 pounds or 30 pounds, whatever it is the amount, but you need to be specific. And that way, every single week, by the end of the week, when you weigh yourself, you can see if you're actually losing weight or not. That you can track and see if you're going forward with your goal or not. Then it has to be attainable. If you say that you want to work out all 7 days of the week, but you know that Mondays and Thursdays, you always have them jam-packed with, a lot of activities, and you don't even have time to breathe, that's not realistic, because there's no way you're going to be working out on those 2 days. Therefore, you're not going to be able to achieve that goal. And by the end of the week, when you see that you didn't achieve your goal of working out 7 days of the week, you're going to feel upset. And then next week comes again. And again, Monday and Thursday, you don't get to work out because you have a full schedule and you can't have not even a second to work out. So by the end of the next week, again, you find yourself that you didn't achieve your goal. And then what happens is that you get unmotivated and you're like, I just can't do this. It's impossible, whatever. And then you drop and you've achieved nothing. So make sure that whatever goal you put for yourself is something that you know that you can humanly achieve. Then it has to be relevant. So for example, if someone is very minimalistic and is someone that it just doesn't care about money, and they just live their lives as they can. And there are people that are just happy with what they have, and they don't want a lot of money, nor anything. But imagine that this person has parents that are all the time telling them that they need to hustle and make more money because they have to become rich and blah 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 blah. That person is not really interested in becoming a millionaire. It's their parents' wish, but not theirs. So that person is like forced to do something that they don't want. And they might be disciplined and they might, work hard towards achieving that goal, but it's not relevant to them because in the very first place, they didn't want that. So at any minor problem that they face, they're gonna drop because it's like, oh, I didn't want this in the very first place. So why am I even doing this? And they will quit and they won't achieve that goal. But because in the first place, it wasn't relevant for them. So you need to set goals that are truly aligned with what you want, not just what society expects from you or your parents or whatever. It has to be something that you truly want. And then the last one, it's timely. So you need to have a period of time for this goal. You can't just say, I want to become a millionaire, and then that goal is there for your whole life. I mean, a goal is something that is meant to be achieved, and so it's meant to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So you need to get to the end of the goal. You need to achieve it and get over it. So you have to set a finishing line for your goal. And so that way you have a certain period of time where you're going to be working on that goal. If you run out of time, then you start again. And it's okay, but you need to have a finishing point. And that would be step 2-ish in the whole journey of achieving your dreams. Because as you see in the whole setting steps for how to achieve your dreams, you have to set goals inside other goals. So you're going to break down your main goal of becoming a millionaire. You're going to break it down into different steps. So first one is to start saving money. And in the whole process of saving money, you're going to set a goal of every single month, I'm going to save this amount of money. And then inside that same goal, you're going to say that by the end of the year, you want to have saved X amount of money. And so every single month, you need to save this amount of money in order to meet your other goal of by the end of the year have this amount of money. You know what I mean? So for example, if your goal is, I'm going to put it in small numbers. If your goal is to save by the end of the year $12 and you're making it all smart because you're saying that it's something specific, it's something timely, it's attainable because you can do it and all those things. So it's a SMART goal here. And then that same goal, you're going to break it down into another goal, which is that every single month you're going to be saving $1. So from your monthly paycheck, you're going to be taking $1 and you're going to be saving it. And so once you've achieved this first step towards your goal of becoming a millionaire, and you've already been saving and you saved, well, in this case, $12, but you know what I mean. You can, obviously, you put this in the grand scale and you save more money. I don't know, maybe $100 every single month or whatever it is. And so once you have that money, you go to the second step that you've decided, which is, I don't know, maybe invest that money that you saved that first year. And so it goes on and on and on. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how to become a millionaire because, I mean, if I knew, I would be doing it for myself. But the main thing here, or the thing to take away from all of this, is that you have to set a primary goal, the ultimate goal, and then break down that goal into different steps. And each step, you're going to have to set goals for it. And the key to achieving success is by doing the work every single day. So, for example, if your ultimate goal is to lose weight, then every single day you have to set goals of, maybe I have to work out or I have to eat healthy. Maybe one day is not your working out day, but you still have to set the goal of eating healthy. It's not like, oh, today I don't work out, therefore I can eat junk food. You know what I mean? So it's an every single day goals in order to achieve the ultimate goal. It's these small decisions and these small steps which go in hand with our habits. So if our goal is to lose weight, but we have this habit of eating junk food every single day, then we're not going to be able to achieve our goal. So we have to fix our habits. And, habits are something with which we all struggle. We all have one or two habits that we're not proud of that always tend to set us back in our path into becoming the best version of ourselves. And we can't seem to get rid of them. And the other day I was scrolling through YouTube shorts, and this psychologist, she was basically talking about how we have to imagine that our brain is like a jungle. And in this jungle, obviously, there's trees, there's grass, plants, and all. And there's also a path. The typical path that, because a lot of people have walked through that path for a very long time, that it gets to a point where just nature, plants, and grass stop growing in that path because people have walked through that path so many times that it gets established, and just nature keeps growing around it but not on the path. So that path is like our habits. So the more you repeat that habit, it's like you're walking through that path. And so each time that you repeat that path, you're walking through it. And the more you walk through it, the more you establish that habit. So our bad habits, the bad habits that we've been repeating over and over and over for years, are paths that are very well established, and we always keep walking through them. And whenever we try to implement a new habit, we are creating a new path. So we're clearing the way in the middle of all the grass and the plants and flowers and everything that is in the jungle. We're clearing a new path. And so, since it's a new path, if we don't walk through it too often, that path will regrow grass and plants and flowers and everything. And so it's not going to be a path anymore. So the key to maintaining it is to keep repeating the habit, to keep walking through that path. And when you stop walking through it, it's going to regrow. So it's important to repeat habits every single day. The more you repeat it, the more you walk through that path, the more you make that habit permanent. And in this case, also the path. And so whenever we are in a stressful situation, our brain doesn't want to take important decisions, or maybe is taking a lot of decisions. So it just wants a break from having to decide so many things. So we tend to always take the easier path. And which path is the easiest one? Well, the one that is well established, the one that we've walked through for so many times, and that's a habit that we've been doing for so many years. So for example, let's just say you're at the end of high school. You have to start deciding what you're going to be doing with your life, what career you're going to take. Your brain is going through a lot of, making decision things, and is so overwhelmed and you're so stressed. And so your brain doesn't want to have to decide something extra, having to decide whether I eat healthy or eat junk food. And so it's just going to go on autopilot. And that autopilot is going to take the easiest path. Which one is the easiest path? The one that you've been taking for so long. The one that you've been, you're accustomed to it. It's just easy to just go through something that you already know and you're familiar with. So you're going to end up eating junk food instead of healthy food because you haven't been eating healthy food for so long. So that path is still not 100% clear. You're still trying to establish it. But in this kind of situations, you still have to take the other path. You have to make the decision of deciding that you're going to be eating healthy food. These moments are the most crucial ones of all the whole process, because if you've been eating healthy for weeks and then you come across a stressful situation and just for one day you decide to take the other path, the one of the bad habit, you decided for one day to eat junk food, that will remind you of how nice and warm is this decision or this habit. You will be reminded of, oh, how I love my junk food. Now, I'm not saying that you can't, have junk food every now and then, but you need to repeat the habit in the easy moments and also in the hard moments. And then once you've established that path, once you've established that habit, and it's something that is part of you, who you are, and it's something that is, as I've said, established, then you can now and then, in this case, eat junk food. Like when you're in the process of trying to implement a healthy eating, you can't allow yourself to distract yourself and eat junk food. I'm not saying you just cut it for your whole life, but maybe just cut it for a certain period of time until you feel like you can control your habits and you can eat junk food in a healthy way. Like you can eat junk food and then the next day you go back to your healthy eating without falling back into, eating bad food every single day. So, yeah, that was a lot of rambling for one episode. I don't know how long this episode will be, but probably very long. But I hope that it got to help you. I hope that you got some new information from this episode that allow you to be able to make the right decisions towards, you know, setting your goals and actually achieving them. It's a beautiful path. It might be sometimes hard because you have to fight against your desires and your old habits, but you have to remind yourself that you have some goals that you want to achieve and that by achieving them, you will feel so accomplished, you will be happy, you will, all the good things. So that's also worth it. And yeah, enough rambling. I hope you enjoyed this episode and I will see you in the next one. Bye.